They're scared. Good to know. Right.
I have managed to sleep probably 14 hours in the past week or so. All in all, I feel slightly less human than I am, but I aced my finals, and as of tomorrow, I will finish the forging on my half of the railing that we've been working on for about a month and a half. So, all in all, everything is pretty good, Jake. Once I get some sleep, I'll be much better. You're still muted.
Let's check this out. There we go. Let me try this one more time. You know what? Third time is the charm. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jake Kelton. I'll be your host tonight if I can finally get myself heard on the channel. Joined by Wraith, who you have all heard talking about how wonderful his lack of sleep and now getting a little bit of sleep is. Thank you all for your patience and for the chat slowly educating me on the fact that I need to double check all of my muted settings. When you're running production, you mute everything to make sure that you don't go over the casters. I was running production for a different stream last Saturday, and then I forgot to double check all of my muted microphones because I'm never muted, and suddenly I find myself in that precarious position. But we are starting off tonight, game number 1 with Unmuted Conquest taking on Neuroshock Gaming. Now, these two teams are scrimming, but it is a best of 3. So depending on how good this game that we are going to be watching here is, if it's a really good showing, I say we might give them a shot at going all the way and just casting all the best of 3s. However, if it's a boring game and we're all falling asleep because there just isn't that much going on, then I say we move on and get some viewer games in. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about these picks and bans real quick, Jake.
Sure.
So Thresh taken off the table. Caitlyn just received an interesting buff that I really kind of like. So they didn't do anything to her base stats or anything. She scales pretty well. She's kind of a mid-tier hyperscaler. She's not a Kog'Maw or a Jinx or something like that. But late game, she deals a lot of damage. But what they did is they increased the early game damage to her trap. You grab somebody with a trap, bonus damage off of that is actually a pretty substantial increase at level 1, and on up, the final damage is not increased. But what I really, really like about that is that the traps are my favorite part of her kit personally. Making people step on stuff and then hitting them for a massive chunk of damage. I just like that element of her kit.
Well,
so they
did buff that Caitlyn trap damage, if you saw that in the patch notes. So she, not late game, but early game can hit you a little bit harder with that. I love the Vi and the Xayah coming through for the side of Unmuted Conquest. That pairing is so good. Vi's actually one of those champions that recently I've come to adore a lot more. Even though I don't play jungle very much, she's incredibly strong with the Assault and Battery. Really good cooldowns on her Q as well. And then pair that with the Xayah, you're looking at some pretty good CC and the absolute perfect initiation for any team fight. As long as Vi is close enough, she just says, you know what, all right, Leroy Jenkins time, let's do this, and just runs straight into the enemy team. And if they try to jump on Xayah, she's got a great escape, but usually everyone's turning and focusing on Vi, so Xayah can just be shredding your team with all of those late game feathers.
Yeah, but the thing is that with a Tom Kench, he's like the only champion. Now there are like 3 or 4 champions that can completely negate Vi's ultimate. My favorite thing to watch is when Vi ults Zed and then Zed ults Vi at the same time. So she flies forward and goes and does the knockup animation, but he's a shadow. He's not there anymore. So
yeah.
it's a hilarious interaction. There are a few things that look really stupid. It's like when you have 2 Vi's that ult each other at the same time. That looks pretty dumb too. All right, so
I wish there was a fun interaction with Tom Kench in which if he eats the person that Vi is chasing, she just chases them down Tom Kench's throat and ends up in his stomach too. That would be pretty hilarious, but As it is, it's only going to cut off that engage. We got those final bans coming through from Neuroshock Gaming, the Nami, and the Xerath, taking away some of the support and mid lanes, which are the two left to be grabbed by Unmuted Conquest. There's still the option to go with the Rakan, which not only pairs nicely with the Xayah, another great engage tool. You start with the Vi, you follow up with the Rakan, you follow that with the Aatrox, then you just need a good poke in that mid lane, and you've got yourself a nice team composition.
Yep, and let's see. Who do you think's going to round out these compositions? So we've got AD and support locked in, and we've got an AD locked in. So have you seen the new support champion? By the way?
I love Yuumi. She's adorable. She's cute. I had a cat, and they are fantastic and ridiculous. And Yuumi plays exactly into that, constantly flitting all over the place. Her untargetable ability makes things that much more spicy, and what I found while watching people stream her is the fact that she's not only incredibly squishy if the carry that she's on gets killed, which means your target selection on the carry that you choose to hang around on is absolutely critical, but she's incredibly squishy as well. So when you're playing Yuumi, if you decide to take her, the key is to pick the person that you're riding on very, very carefully, because her range is not that great, so you need to be playing a bit more towards the front line, but you also don't want your ride to die and then leave you stranded so that the enemy team can just pick you out pretty easily, because she does not have that much health. I don't know that it's quite as low as Sona's or Soraka's, but it's pretty low. She's pretty squishy.
Yeah, but the thing is that she can just hide inside of people, so she doesn't actually need HP. I actually played a game against her in ARAM. It's like, wait, she's just immortal unless you kill somebody who she's attached to. I can imagine some pretty amazing escapes where they're like flash and then just jump into the Mundo, and they literally can't kill you.
Well, one of the things I love about it is that it's going to encourage the people that she's attached to be the front line. Sometimes you have those tanks that kind of sit back and play a little bit defensively when you want your Cho'Gath to be that front line, to be the one absorbing the impact. And for Yuumi, you need to be up close and personal with the enemy to have the best effect with that ultimate. It is an AoE and it is in front of you. However, it's not that long of a ranged ability. So you want to be towards that front line so you can actually use it in a big wombo combo fight. And so it's going to encourage more people that are playing that front line to actually play that front line. So excited to see that. We won't see it this game. I do want to record who we get to see as the first Yuumi player to ever play on XLNC. I'll be writing that down, making a note of that. But this game, we're not going to see it. We've got the players and their champions locked in now. So let's roll through the players and their champions as we get into game number 1. For the side of Unmuted Conquest, we've got Junie taking the Aatrox, who's been a little bit tweaked into that top lane. Volo Damani with the jungle Vi. Experiment 626 playing his main role. He's out of the top lane. He's into the mid lane, taking the Ziggs. TJ with the Xayah on the 80 carry role, and Hold My Weave, love the name, with the Lulu and the support.
And for the side of Neuroshock Gaming, we've got Rose My Queen on the Jace in the top lane. Bladed Thesis, I love that name, on Sejuani in the jungle. Ka-Hei-In on Lux in the mid lane. C-Game Rule on Varus in the bottom lane ADC role. And Tom Kench, played by Hooks PhD in the bottom lane supportive role. That's an interesting last name.
PhD. Oh, PhD, yes, Hooks PhD. He's a doctor, of course. Should have thought of that. Yes. If you are new to the channel, welcome. We cast every Tuesday and Thursday. Right now, as we are in that 3-minute spectator delay, you get the option to bet on which team you think is actually going to win. So if you are in the chat, you can check your points, as Aether Rising just did with that exclamation point points. And then you can, I believe you have to have at least a 10 minimum to be able to bet on a team, red side or blue side. I know that I'll be betting once we get through a little bit of breakdown. I also want to thank all the people that are following tonight. There's a bunch of you. Jaglix, XB, Rix, Meta Shifted, and Polar Bow. Not quite bear, Polar Bow. Thank you so much for jumping in and following the channel. Hope you enjoy. As we look at the compositions, there's a ton of engage. Talking about the mid lane poke from Ziggs, Unmuted Conquest. They're looking pretty darn strong with the Vi and the Aatrox to be that front line, the Xayah and Ziggs to hit from the back line, and then you have that super supportive shield, speed boost, wild growth, extra health, make you larger too, why not? Lulu to top it all off. That's a pretty decent combo coming out from Unmuted Conquest. However, there's some amazing pick from Neuroshock Gaming.
Yeah, and Neuroshock has the Tom Kench and Sejuani, which in the tank department are really, really beefy, though I like Ziggs better for poke than Lux. And I'm not sure about Varus at the moment, because you saw what they did to the Ginsu's Range Blade, right? They absolutely gutted it. They changed it from every second auto attack to every third auto attack, which now it doesn't do anything for Varus, because he only gets 3 autos on his passive anyway, so it's basically worthless for him. So I'm very confused. It's still in his core build kit right now, but since that was one of his core items, his main build path, he's kind of at the moment. So I definitely am thinking Xayah Lulu's a stronger late game carry potential than the Varus after receiving that indirect nerf by taking out one of his core items. So late game, I like the carries much better for the side of Unmuted Conquest. However, the tank line for Neuroshock Gaming is pretty impressive. Well, also, it's worth noting the poke on Neuroshock Gaming between the Jace, the Lux, and the Varus. So their siege potential is very high.
Well, this is where a lot of people are saying red team. I myself even bet on red team, but that's actually to support my main man, Experiment 626. He's a good friend of mine. But I really think that Neuroshock Gaming has a great chance of this game. So a huge amount of this is off of the disengage potential. When you've got the roots coming out of the Lux and the Varus, and then you have the safety of that Tom Kench. Somebody gets picked off, Tom Kench just eats them, reset the fight. You don't have to take the fights from Neuroshock Gaming. They can pick and choose what fights they want to fight. They can use the pick coming out from those roots and the incredible ultimate out of Sejuani, who just almost every time that it's used, if used effectively, can be a kill for them. They can kind of take their time, choose the fights that they want, farm up, play for more of that skirmish game. They don't have to do the 5v5, because the 5v5 is going to favor Unmuted Conquest. Ziggs, AoE ultimate, Aatrox, AoE damage, Xayah, AoE feathers, all of it's incredibly strong. So when you have that opportunity, hey Quinn 408, when you have that opportunity from Neuroshock Gaming to pick and choose the fight, they can be selective. And if they're careful in that selection, they can be the one that's actually leading the charge on these kills and finding the advantages that they want before it comes to the neutral objectives like the Dragon, the Scuttle Crabs, and the Rift Herald, those sorts of things. So what I want to see from the side of Neuroshock Gaming, good wardage and then carefully selected aggression, because if they go too aggressive, they might just fall down, but they get to choose what fights they want to take. For Unmuted Conquest, it might just be, put that foot full on the gas pedal and hope for the best.
Yeah, and the thing is, isn't that what we say, like, every game, though? It's like, can you guys please put down some wards, please? Like, there's so many times we look and it's like, the map is dark and the ADC just got picked off. Why are there no wards on the map? And then sometimes you have that one beautiful game, it's like, I can see everything, the whole map is lit up, this is wonderful. And then you get into the vision wars, and it's really fun to talk about the strategy. All right, so standard starts from everybody. You've got that unpassable line of just people standing on both sides. It's looking fairly organized. Nothing has gone wrong yet, Jake.
There's no 5-man invades that lead to 3 deaths because everyone's flashing, which we might actually get a 2-man invade on to hold my weave. The Lulu on the run, avoids the tongue lash from the Tom Kench. So they are going to know at least that the jungler from Neuroshock Gaming's on the bottom side of the map, but that is to be expected. It is a Sejuani, and while some red side junglers like to start red, it's still fairly typical to start on that blue side, get the leash from the bottom lane.
Indeed. Basically just because bot gives a better leash than top, and also it sets your top laner way far behind. They lose wave control and XP, which is critical in a 1v1 scenario, especially in a lane bully situation like with Jace. Who do you think is going to win this top side?
On the top side, Aatrox versus Jace, I really want to give the early game to the Jace simply because he's going to have that massive poke, he's got that range advantage, and Aatrox, because of that change to his ultimate, can't freely dive the turret anymore. He has to guarantee that he either gets the kill or play a little bit safer. So Joni, is going to need to just play a little bit safe and make sure to just be getting as much farm as possible, as Rose, my queen, is probably going to have a little bit more control over the lane. That said, when it comes to the later stages of the laning phase, especially if a turret goes down and Aatrox decides to have that full-on split push, I want to give it to Aatrox because he's just that much better
in the bottom lane.
Of a duelist.
Forced out.
Yeah, hold my weave. Forced to flash away. The pressure from that Tahm Kench was just a bit too nervous. If he can get an early swallow, that's going to be a lot of damage that Varus can output. And you can see from the spells, there's still that Ignite sitting on that Tahm Kench, and that can guarantee that level early level kill.
Absolutely. Level 2, I say this almost every single week, but level 2 is the strongest time that your champion is going to have in the game.
Oh, Vi coming to the top side, going to engage onto the Jace. He's going to flash away. There's a Sejuani around the corner. She's not going to try to fight as there's a big minion wave there. But yeah, just a good gank by the Vi. Get some pressure onto the Jace, force the flash.
That was really close right there. If Varus hadn't stepped just a little bit to the side, he actually would have gone down by eating that Xayah damage. Those 3 feathers really hurt. Let's see. So at the moment, a little bit of a root here, and probably going to be about an even trade of damage in the mid lane. And just as we were expecting, the Jace is winning out in the harass battle over the Aatrox, and consequentially has a massive 2 CS lead over his opposite member. Let's see. So in the bottom lane, the Varus is running very low.
Oh, the Vi's running away from Sejuani. Bladed Thesis didn't win out on the Scuttle Crab. Vi was able to secure it, and Vi still having Flash. I guess Sejuani decided not to continue to chase that, especially because the bottom lane from Unmuted Conquest could have roamed up a little bit faster, and Sejuani didn't really want to find themselves in the midst of a 1v3, but will still try to join into the enemy team jungle and steal away some of those Raptor camps.
Yep.
We are made by
and
our
currently,
choices.
I thought Rose, my queen, was going to get pulled back into the rest of the Aatrox combination, and that could have turned the lane fairly substantially against him at the moment. Big problem with Varus at the moment is that he is so mana dependent to get his harass out. He has decent range and really should be stepping up to harass the Xayah more when she goes forward for CS. Definitely making life harder. The difficulty there, of course, being the Lulu if she is competent on the
Oh, in the bottom lane, Ignite comes down onto TJ. The Xayah forced to flash away. Very low health, but the heal hasn't burned as well. All spells down for Unmuted Conquest. And the Tahm Kench is low as well. So it's actually every single spell burned in the bottom lane. However, keep your eyes on that Varus. Full health still, but low mana. So he might not be that aggressive in the lane.
Yeah, and I was expecting, of course, the Tahm Kench moving backwards right there, wisely so. But as soon as those summoners went down, Vi quit the camp and just came over and was going to try and make a gank happen down there. And it definitely would have struck home if she could have gotten into the lane. But wise to back off after that engagement from Tahm Kench. It's going to force both members back, and they can... Varus can probably shove in this wave pretty quickly, has enough mana for a last Q, so that's going to be able to knock it down, and the final stack's going to knock down the cannon minion, so it'll result in a small XP and CS advantage for Varus.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're keeping that pressure up in the bottom lane. One of those things that with the Xayah, she usually wins by pushing forward. You know, she wants to be close enough that she's throwing those daggers behind people, then pulling them through to get that not only root, but that extra damage as well. And so when you're shoving people underneath that turret, you can find a bit more success on that Xayah, especially with that Lulu joining in. However, by shoving them back, that's giving a bit of a CS advantage to Varus. And as you were just talking about, he's going to have some expensive items that he's got to eventually build as we got a little bit of a fight in the jungler. Yeah, Sejuani is going to be very low, and he might be taken down for first blood as the root comes through onto the Vi. She flashes away. Sejuani's going to go in with the boar rush. In the meantime, the Vi is still going to be able to go in and find the kill onto the Sejuani. Rooted up again, taken down with the auto attack by the Lux, getting that extra proc damage. So the kills will be traded over in the jungle. In the meantime, though, the Xayah is way out of position. The root comes through. Hold on. The Tahm Kench eats up Xayah, spits him out with a polymorph onto the Varus. That's your favorite spell, Wraith. But the Varus is still going to pick up the kill. And now with the stun, they can turn on to hold my weave. A double kill for the Varus in the bottom lane of Neuroshock Gaming. And a fantastic positioning by the Tahm Kench to get that fight.
Yeah. Hook's PhD definitely getting all the credit for that one. Doing a great job with the Tahm Kench, catching Xayah out of position, way overcommitting for that wave, and gets punished for it. Lulu comes forward and tries to win the fight. The polymorph was almost enough, but not quite, as the Xayah did get nommed and then taken for a ton of health before her support could get in there. And this is going to be an even bigger CS, XP, and pressure lead, probably going to be a plate, but of course Vi is on this side, and after that kind of expenditure to win the fight, yeah, and Varus is just going to go back rather than trying to pressure for a plate. Wise could have gotten taken down there, but at the moment Varus sitting on a Bilgewater Cutlass as well as 2 daggers to the pickaxe and longsword of his opponent. So, actually, pardon, recurve bow, not 2 daggers now. So that's going to be a lot more damage, as well as the all-important sustain. Really the main pressure that Lulu can bring forward in a range-first melee matchup is the extra harass that she can bring to the table, which is pretty much negated by a more healing-centric build.
We'll see if they can find those.
Yeah, so word it out.
Early Dragon by Unmuted Conquest. They know that it's happening, though. Neuroshock Gaming trying to collapse in. There's the Lux coming in first. Hold my weave, going to be dropped low. There's the ultimate from the Varus, going to take down the Lulu. And now with the Sejuani ultimate, they can drop the Xayah. Great ult in return, though, to try to avoid some of that CC. Still alive, but dropping down to 200 health. Zig's ultimate going to drop the entire backline of Neuroshock Gaming low, but there's no kills there. Aatrox teleporting to the bottom lane, looking to see if he can help out in this fight as the Mountain Drake has been called off. However, with Neuroshock Gaming having the advantage in health and pushing Unmuted Conquest away, they can turn and start the Drake up if they want.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that Jace has huge pressure off of this. Big stacked wave with a cannon minion in it. This is going to be at least 2 plates going over to the lane bully. The thing about Jace is, wait.
No, the Vi's going to try to 1v1 the Sejuani. It's level 6, but both their ultimates are down. Oh no, the Assault and Battery from the Vi is still up, so she's going to use it. Dropping the Sejuani low. The Jace is here! He's got the Hammer Swash! And Volo drops in the river. Excellent timing by Rose My Queen.
Yeah, and this is going to be even more gold into the pockets of the Jace. A lot of the criticism around the champion is that he does fall off if he doesn't get ahead in the lane, and he wasn't up very much. Hold on.
Oh,
we
Rose
might
My
have
Queen.
it all in here.
Gonna be dropping low. Joni joined, but hold on, the Sejuani is here, getting a nice boar rush to stun up. There's that passive. Joni, the Aatrox falls. Didn't get the ultimate in time, and you still have to get a kill or assist. Couldn't use it to effect, and drops. That is 7 kills to 1, and Neuroshock Gaming is making this game look pretty easy so far.
Yeah, it is definitely a couple of misplays, not sweeping out the Drake before trying to sneak it. Probably the most important one there that, wow, I hadn't looked at the score, but it is 1 kill to 7 kills. This is pretty substantial lead, and I did say that late game I prefer blue team's late game champions. However, early game, all belonging to Neuroshock Gaming at the moment. And however, a couple of plates going down in the bottom lane, but kind of just a consolation prize at the moment. Are they? They're not even going to get the second one, so 80 gold between them, half a wave.
Oh, there's a Tom Catch ultimate, though. They're wanting to engage onto Tej. The tongue lash is going to come through. The flash from the Zaya, but she's still going to be hit by the Varus ultimate before her ult can come through, and Lulu stays around way too long. Has to burn the Wild Growth ultimate. Still is going to get stunned up. Lux ultimate, perfectly timed. Who's going to get the last hit? The Tom Catch, I think, tried to eat the Lulu and instead ate the Varus, but he pops out in time for the auto attack and going to get 5-0-1. The total scoreline for this Varus, 3-0-1 on this Lux, and Neuroshock Gaming putting a shock into Unmuted Conquest.
Yeah, but a lot of that scoreline coming off the back of Hook's PhD, playing a real clean Tom Kench, setting up a lot of plays on a champion that doesn't really set up plays without his ultimate. Hitting those tongue lashes, as well as just realizing when his opponents are out of position and when he can capitalize on it. So big props over to the support from Neuroshock Gaming.
All right, with that 1 and 9, things are looking rough for Unmuted Conquest. Now, we know that when you're talking about those later game team fights, they might be able to find some advantages. Maybe this engage onto the Lux in the mid lane. She's going to throw out the barrier. I don't know if it's going to be enough. She flashes with a flash matched by the Vi, and that will be Volodemoni taking down Chahai in that mid lane. So the good collapse by the side of Unmuted Conquest had the Lulu there as well, and they need to find a lot more of those to start to come back into the game. And maybe not finding Hold My Weave, getting caught out, uses the polymorph onto the Sejuani, but still going to be stunned up. You cannot stop the Sejuani CC, and a great poke out of the Varus. Aatrox stopping the teleport coming in from the Jace, and that top side, going to be going all in. No friends to help him now, but he does get the knockback, causing Aatrox to rethink about that fight, and so he will be able to get away.
Yeah, and that is the ultimate burn in exchange for the active of Yumu's Ghost Blade. Definitely not a good trade for the Aatrox. Of course, that is going to be a substantial chunk of...
Well, he also got the TP out, so, you know, he stopped the TP from the Jace.
No, but I mean in the fight traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate being dropped.
Hold on. Ultimate from Varus once again onto the Vi in the bottom lane. Dropped to about half, so going to be charging in with that Q. Instead, refocusing on those minions. There's no mana on this Varus, so he backs away, just focusing on those minions. Really wants this bottom lane turret, and that could be first turret of the game, as we are not even 14 minutes into the game, and they have secured every single plate off of it.
Yeah, a lot of gold going into the pockets of this Varus right now, and he is looking for this turret. And it looks like he's going to find it, as Vi has not roamed down, despite the fact that she could probably stop this from going down. And that's solo gold onto the first tower. Tom Kench being a bro and giving that over to his ADC, definitely going to help out, considering that Varus is now 6-0, completed Blade of the Ruin King, and for some reason has not gone back yet.
Yeah, he really wants to max out at maybe 3k gold in his inventory. Currently in total gold throughout the game, it's 6,700 gold. He is doubling a lot of the gold on the side of Unmuted Conquest, especially that Aatrox on that top side. So it's a bit of a rough game for Joni in that top lane. And with Varus backing, completing that Blade of the Ruined King, also has the part of that Phantom Dancer. Might be finishing it, might be going Static Shiv, but... probably Phantom Dancer.
I almost think it would be Runan's Hurricane with the build that he's going right there. It works pretty well. I remember that was the core item for old Varus before Ginsu's became the main thing. And with the heavy nerfs to Ginsu's at the moment, I would think that you'd go back to sort of the old build. Right. Rift Herald procced in the mid lane.
Yeah, Lux all gonna come through. Drop Hold My Weave down a little bit. They're trying to take out the support, but good collapse by Unmuted Conquest, holding on to this mid lane turret. They've been able to defend it for now, and Rift Herald will be going down. So didn't get much more than just one single charge off. And that's actually really good from Unmuted Conquest, simply because they are starting to stem the bleeding a little bit. One of those games that it kind of feels like it's getting away from you. You've got that 6-0 Varus. It was a 3-0 Lux, now 3-1 with a good catch by the Vi. But it's kind of a game that you got to calm down a little bit. You got to say, hold on. All right, we're just going to settle. Try to get everyone to farm up a little bit, reset, get that vision. You can see that from the side of Neuroshock Gaming, they've pretty much controlled this mid lane vision and can now rotate it towards that Baron that will be coming up here in another couple of minutes. There's also another Drake popping up here shortly. It is another Mountain Drake Though at the moment, that control ward by unmuted Conquest going to be holding some river vision control as the side of Neuroshock Gaming still focuses mid lane turret.
Yep, and it does look like that Risen My Queen is probably going to be taking down this tower very soon, playing a good game. Just walk in, take a pot shot at the tower. Though I would like to see a little bit more aggressive pressure, but with rotating the bottom lane.
Oh, there's a Varus coming up. Aatrox sees it, though. He tries to dash. Joni throws down the ultimate, but he knows it's not going to save him. The Varus still walks in, finishing him off, going godlike in this top lane. Great roam out of the Tahm Kench and Varus. But they have lost positioning around this Mountain Drake that could be started up by unmuted Conquest.
Yeah, but Mountain Drake's really only useful if you're ahead. It's kind of a win more Drake.
Oh, so Vi going in with the Assault and Battery, going to force the flash out of Bladed Thesis. The Sejuani's still going to be on the run. There is that Lux and Tahm Kench just off to this side. The ultimate used by Sejuani, but it's going to be kind of canceled by Volo, just dashing in with that Q. In the meantime, though, Experiment 626 caught out, throws out that ultimate, flashes away to the Blast Cone. Volo caught out by the Lux and the Sejuani. Might be able to take out Sejuani in time. No, the outrange! Sejuani gets away. Tahm Kench has fallen as well. Good dodge by the Varus. However, he still has to escape as the Xayah is being sped in through that Lulu. Couple of blades coming out. She's going to flash forward. The root's not going to come through, but now Jace can turn onto the team. An ultimate from Xayah saves her for now, as that arrow from the Varus could have been to her heart. And the blades come through, but the polymorph onto Jace, delaying this a little bit longer. Junie trying to do what he can, taking up for his team. But Jace is straight to the back line. He's got himself one. He's got himself Xayah as well. And Hold My Weave will be losing it to the wind as Neuroshock Gaming basically ace unmuted Conquest and can now freely turn onto the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, wow. Jace, the hero of that fight, comes in. The Varus manages to narrowly escape the Xayah's flashing on him under the tower, and Rose My Queen's like, I've got full HP, TPs to the fight, and then he cleans house, lands a critical shock blast onto two members, and then flashes forward to finish the fight off, getting himself a triple kill and settling himself pretty at 4-0 on this Jace.
No, it's I'm laughing at Vitey in the chat. Twitch chat says, did Jake just say hold my weed? No, hold my weave, the Lulu's name, but pretty funny nonetheless. A great collapse from Neuroshock Gaming, and I love their commitment to the fight. They say, we already know that your bottom lane first tier turret is gone. We can chase you all the way to your second tier turret. Plus, again, we're the team that, you know, was able to disengage that fight and now can chase with the roots from the Lux, the speed boost by Jace that not only goes on him, but other allies as well. The Boar Rush from Sejuani for repositioning. Excellent stuff there. And Aatrox, he did his best, but again, when you're not doing any damage, 0-3, people can just kind of be like, oh, we're going to ignore you, Aatrox, and go focus on the rest of your team, kill them, and then come back for you as leftovers.
Indeed. But look at these carries from Neuroshock Gaming. 4-0. 4-1 and 7-0 on the scoreline, and then of course the people who don't have kills are the beefy guys. So it's looking pretty rough at the moment, and they're posturing up around the Baron. It's about to spawn here.
Oh, they're going to try to get the Jace in the bottom lane. There's a Lulu joined here, and there's that Wild Growth as well from this Xayah. She's going to ult, but looks like Rose My Queen might be able to escape with the speed boost as well. That is just beautiful. Yumu's Ghost Blade, plus walking through those gates, gets the Jace out, and now he and Lux are going to be turning back around. They found the route onto the Lulu. She's going to go down. Aatrox falls to the top side. Vi a little bit too late. The Ziggs ultimate is good, but the damage is just not near enough. He's only completed that Luden's Echo, and unmuted Conquest getting outplayed at every turn. This Jace even blind, firing off into the brush, forcing TJ to leave, and the Q comes through as well! Beautifully done. Rose My Queen picking up yet another kill. 6-0, trying to say to Varus, hey, you seem to be carrying this game. Let me do it. It's my turn to get all these kills.
Yeah, and Lux quietly sitting there at 4-1. Wow. When 4-1 is the lowest score among the carries, you know it is a really good game. And speaking of good games, they've got the Baron started up at 21 minutes flat. Lux might be caught out here, though. Oh. Experiment 626 not going to be able to pick it up, but it's going to be Vi.
Yeah, once again, a great chase with that Q. They're going to be jumping onto the Baron for the side of Neuroshock Gaming. They're dropping it low. No one here really to contest. They get a little bit of vision, but it's just too late. No chance for the Aatrox to try to collapse. However, they might be able to find the Tahm Kench. If they can take the Barons off of the players, that'll be good enough for them. The ultimate from the Ziggs just going to miss, but Tahm Kench still falls, making it only 3 members that have that Baron on them. No, the Lux already went down, so...
Oh, Lux. I thought it was Jace that went down and just respawned. So, yeah, 3 members, but fortunately, they would probably be wanting to run a 4-1 composition anyway, so they didn't lose it on any critical members. Still going to be a very strong push. 4 members down the mid lane, and then Jace on the bot side. Aatrox not going to be able to handle this Jace with 6 kills, as well as a decent amount of farm and 5 turret plates to his name.
Yeah, 19 to 5. 10,000 gold lead. You were just saying Runan's Hurricane on that Varus, so he's definitely picking a different route than that Rage Blade. But with that, he's going to be able to land a lot of those procs. They'll allow his extra, I think on this skin, it's a grenades that comes through, popping those, that passive. And that's actually going to be a massive amount of wave clear for the Varus as well. Currently sitting on 185 farm, the highest in the game. They can freely push whatever lane they want with him.
Yeah, pretty much. And the extra range that he has, both in abilities as well as his auto attacks, are going to make him a very difficult target to get onto, especially with the fact that you do have a Tahm Kench. A Vi usually really good at singling out Fed carries, knocking them up, and setting up to take the takedown from somebody who can follow up at a distance like a...
the Xayah gonna be in trouble. She throws out that ultimate, but the Ziggs hit up by the Sejuani. The Glacial Prison holding him in place. He may try to barrier, he may try to heal, but he's still going to fall. The Lulu to follow as well. Varus picking up both of those. In the meantime, Vi was able to drop the Jace off in the bottom side fight, the 2v1 with that Jace. Aatrox helping out there, but now the Xayah has to defend the mid lane against 4 all by her lonesome, and this is definitely at least inhibitor turret going down, probably the inhibitor following up as well. Aatrox and Vi are here to see what they can do to defend this inhibitor, dropping low, but the Varus is just freely hitting it. There is nothing that this Vi can do. She's got no ultimate for now, and so they're just going to clean up the minions after losing the mid lane inhibitor.
Yeah, with the Baron, hold on, follow-up kill, just casually blows up the ADC, and that means that this fight can continue. They're going to push it down top lane, still have the Baron buff. I wish we had one of those little indicators. It's like Baron power play, because this would definitely be closing in on 5,000 gold on the Baron. Vi's just like, peace out, guys. I'm going to go get the Cloud Drake right now. Helps us run away faster. But it's probably going to be a second inhibitor cracked here as well. Ziggs trying his best to wave clear, but not going to have the... And that's going to be the go button right there. They think that Vi is... Why did they back off? They know that there's another member that's missing right now, so it's a 4v4 at best. But
Vi trying to 1v1 the Jace. The GA is up on her, so she's dropped Rose, my queen, down to about half health. However, I think Jace still has plenty of damage in the bucket. And Vi's going to try to run away, but you cannot run from Jace. He will pick you off. And Rose, my queen, going 7-1. There's still the unkilled Varus, 10-0 as well on the map.
Yeah, Varus immortal at the moment and dealing so much damage. 3 items completed, and he does pick up the Rage Blade, just putting it in that 3rd position rather than the 2nd one. I have been looking at the builds on pro builds, and it does say that all the pros are still taking Rage Blade, so it's just a straight nerf to Varus instead of causing somebody to retool his damage.
So the game pretty much closed out 23-6. Now, there's still some potential as the game is slowly crawling its way to that 30-minute mark that Unmuted Conquest can maybe find that perfect kill onto the Varus, a great pick, and then follow that up with dropping Lux or Jace, and maybe from there they can find themselves an ace that leads into a victory. Well, they're going to try to find it onto the Lux right now as the Tahm Kench going to eat her up. The ultimate from this Sejuani is going to be wasted. In the meantime, Jace is not here for this fight. He's towards the his own side of the map. So it is a 4v5. The Tahm Kench ultimate. I thought it was Tahm Kench ultimate, but no, it is not. Zig's ultimate. Ooh! Forces the flash out of the Lux. I believe that would have been a kill. So a couple of ultimates burn on the side of unmuted Conquest. Dropping Lux low, but they didn't find themselves that kill, so they back away. If they find themselves the perfect fight, they might find themselves some gold to try to get back into this game, but it's going to be a long, long crawl to get back up.
Yeah, it's like a 12,000 gold lead, though. It's gonna be a long haul to get back into this, where there'd have to be a series of perfect fights, as well as maybe an AFK from Neuroshock Gaming. Yeah, I'm not seeing them getting through this 10-0 Varus without Tahm Kench being... Well,
oh, TJ gonna be in trouble. Rose, my queen, throwing out that Q. TJ able to escape, but why is she still standing behind the gate? I guess feeling a little confident there. Immediately starts that recall, but Rose, my queen, can keep pushing this bottom side. The Baron about to spawn, so the rest of the team from Neuroshock Gaming going to collect right around that pit.
2 autos and the threat of a shock blast force out the ultimate from Xayah, and that is a critical cooldown to have in this team fight, because the pullback on the feathers can just hold on. I was wondering if Varus was going to throw out the ultimate right there in that corridor. Really set up for a pick onto the jungler. Hold on, Bladed Thesis around the corner.
Oh, there's the engage from the Sejuani, forcing the flash. The Vi gonna queue right back in. She's looking for the Varus. Dropped him about half, but the golden stopwatch gonna save him for the moment. The Vi gonna assault and battery on in. They can't take him down. The Zig's ultimate, forcing him to flash, but he is still alive. TJ now forced to run a great route onto Bladed Thesis, slowing the engage from the side of Neuroshock Gaming. But Jace's to the backside. He's taking down the Xayah. They're gonna drop the Lulu as well. A beautiful collapse from Neuroshock Gaming's top laner, and now they're gonna have a free time on the top lane inhibitor turret. The top lane inhibitor itself, and with 3 members down, this might be the end of the game.
I think it is, Jake. It's definitely looking that way. They might back off, do the whole thing where they close out all of the... And yeah, it is looking like they're going to go for the Baron rather than just ending the game. Whatever.
I think that's a little bit risky. Again, every time you do this, as the game gets later, you're still giving the enemy opportunities to try to come back. You're still giving any enemy opportunities to try to find those picks. And Varus almost went down in that last fight. It was so incredibly close. He had to burn everything in his kit to stay alive. However, with 5 members sitting on that Baron and now can push the bottom lane turret and inhibitor, they've got the mid lane inhibitor that came back up to deal with, but they're still in absolute control of this game.
Yeah. At the moment, I kind of like the reset a little bit from a standpoint just of safety, because it was possible with Varus being as low as he was and the fact that he had to burn both of his summoner spells. If somebody respawned right there, they could have gotten the massive shutdown gold that is on this champion right now. And then that's a lot of the fighting potential from this team. So just go in, take all the objectives, and then walk it down bot lane, let super minions push in top side, and end it clean. However, if they start trying to do the "I'm gonna style on you" nonsense, hold on, and engage, it looks like.
Oh, they were considering jumping onto Bladed Thesis, but the Sejuani is really tanky. Double ults are gonna miss from the side of Neuroshock Gaming. Their engage has been whiffed. They don't have anything. They can turn the Sejuani. She's gonna Guardian's Angel though, or sorry, the Gargoyle Stone Plate to be able to survive for a moment. They try to burst down the Xayah and are successful. The Vi GA gonna be popped as well, and maybe Unmuted Conquest were able to sidestep all of those ultimates, but they can't sidestep their own deaths as Neuroshock Gaming get a great turnaround. They blew everything from Unmuted Conquest onto the Sejuani, and now they're gonna lose their base because of it.
Yep, and that should be the end of the game. I can't see any way that this couldn't be the end of the game, and yes, it is going to be the Nexus falling and just a few more auto attacks. Hold on, we've got a little bitty fight here.
Oh, a little bit of baby fight. They want the Aatrox, want to pad the stats a little bit. Not going to be successful. The game is going to close out with Neuroshock Gaming coming out victorious in the end.
Yep, and we're going to go into MVPs and honorable mentions just here in a second.
Once your game sets up.
Yes, once my game decides that it wants to load back in. Okay, so MVPs, honorable mentions, and shoutouts. First for the losing side, unmuted Conquest. Honorable mention. I want to give honorable mention over to... I think I have to give it to 626 for the follow-ups that he had when Vi was trying to go into the back line. He would usually throw a lot of burst damage in on top of her to cover. Yeah, Vi definitely going to be grabbing the MVP for herself, though. The only one who could possibly put any pressure onto this Varus, who was deathless. But her ganks were effective in the early game, if not quite enough to balance the scales. Yeah. But all in all, a very rough game for unmuted Conquest, but your MVPs and honorable mentions are going to be Experiment 626 at the honorable mentions, and Volvo Domani on the MVP there. So, for the side of Neuroshock Gaming, we're going to give over the MVP, or rather the honorable mention. There are so many really good options here. I want to give the MVP, and I do mean MVP, over to Hooks PhD, because he's the one who got C Games rule ahead. And the honorable mention, I have to give it to the Varus. I mean, deathless game, most CS in the game, definitely. But, I mean, Jace, Rose my queen, Jace just went ham in the top lane. There's so many good options. Yes. So Hooks PhD definitely deserving of that MVP, because without him, the Varus would not have gotten as ahead as he was. But Varus being the primary carry in the game, Varus does deserve the honorable mention at least. Bladed Thesis, really good on the ganks. Rose my queen was the deciding factor in 2 or 3 fights I can remember. And the Lux, of course, just coming in quietly there at 7 and 2, dealing tons of damage, and obviously landed a few crucial ultimates right down the middle of the team fight. So, yeah, I definitely think that those would be the correct breakdowns. As for damage, Jace, and you would see the pokers coming in at the top of the damage list, of course. Both Jace and Ziggs topping the damage charts, with Lux coming in behind. Interestingly enough, though, you do have Vi spiking in there, which is not something you normally see from a melee fighter, but really good play from the Vi. So those are going to be your MVPs, mentions, and shout-outs for this game.
All right, and I definitely agree with that. Ziggs getting the honorable mention, 24,000 damage this game. Poke, 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 and matching that Jace in total damage throughout the game. Fantastic stuff. Now, there is a poll going on right now that you guys can join in with that poll. You can either !viewer if you want viewer games coming up next, or vote best of 3 if you're interested in continuing this best of 3. This is only game number 1. We're going to take a very quick break, get the results from that poll, and then be right back with game number 2. Whether or not it's a viewer game or continuing this best of 3, you get to decide. Let us know. We'll be right back.